$2,089,000. That's not a random number. That's the exact figure Americans told us they need to retire comfortably. We surveyed 1,000 people. We asked a simple question: how much do you need? The average answer was $2,089,000. I'll be honest with you, that number surprised me. I've been in this business for 4 decades. I've seen every retirement study, every projection, every benchmark. $1 million used to be the goal. Then it became 1.5 million. Now people are saying they need over 2 million. And here's what keeps me awake at night: almost no one is close. 62% of the people we surveyed have saved less than $150,000 for retirement. Do the math. That's about 7% of what they think they need. 7%. If you needed $2 million to buy a house and you had $140,000, would you feel ready to close? Would you feel confident walking into that bank? That's where most Americans are right now, staring at a goal they'll never reach, watching the years tick by, hoping something changes. Nothing's going to change unless you change it. Now, before I go further, let me say something. If this video makes sense to you, if you're learning something, hit that subscribe button. I don't ask for much, but the algorithm decides who sees this based on engagement. More subscribers means more people hear this message. And trust me, they need to hear it. Let me tell you what's actually happening out there. Half of American households approaching retirement age, people in their 50s and 60s, have $0 saved in a 401k or IRA. Not a little, not some, zero. These are people who've worked their entire lives, raised families, paid taxes, contributed to the economy, and they have nothing set aside for when they stop working. Where do they turn? Social Security. Social Security pays about $2,000 a month on average. That's $24,000 a year. Try living on that. Try paying rent, healthcare, food, utilities, everything on $24,000 a year. It's not retirement. It's survival. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Social Security's trust fund is projected to run out by 2035. After that, benefits drop to 83 cents on the dollar, and that percentage keeps falling. So the safety net that half of America is counting on, it has a hole in it, a hole that's getting bigger every year. Americans are right to be worried. I wrote about this in my annual chairman's letter because I believe this is one of the most serious problems facing this country. Not inflation, not interest rates, not the stock market. The retirement crisis. It's slow, it's quiet, it doesn't make headlines, but it's destroying millions of lives in ways people don't fully understand until it's too late. Let me tell you about Generation X. Gen X is the first generation primarily dependent on 401k plans. Their parents had pensions. Their grandparents had pensions. Pensions mean someone else manages your retirement. Someone else takes responsibility. Someone else makes sure there's enough money when you stop working. 401ks are different. With a 401k, you're on your own. You decide how much to contribute. You decide where to invest. You decide when to start and when to stop. And most people aren't equipped to make those decisions. The oldest Gen Xers will start retiring in 5 years. They're the canary in the coal mine. And what do we see? 62% have less than $150,000 saved. The problem is going to get harder and nastier as Gen X starts to retire. And the trend continues with millennials and Gen Z. They're even more dependent on 401ks, even less likely to have pensions, even more likely to be on their own. If you're watching this and you're under 50, pay attention. This isn't just about your parents. This is about you. Now let me pause here. If you're finding value in this, drop a comment below. Tell me your situation. Are you on track? Are you worried? Have you started? I read these comments, and more importantly, your engagement helps this video reach people who desperately need this information. Let me explain something about 401ks that most people don't understand. Pension funds have invested in private assets for decades: real estate, infrastructure, things that don't trade on public markets every day, things that provide steady returns over long periods. 401ks haven't. Most 401k plans give you a menu of mutual funds, and that's it. You're limited to public markets, stocks and bonds, nothing else. That difference costs you money. Pensions typically outperform 401ks by about 0.5% per year. 0.5% doesn't sound like much, but compound it over 40 years. An extra 0.5% in annual returns results in 14.5% more money in your 401k. That's enough to fund 9 additional years of retirement. 9 years. Let me put that differently. The difference between a pension and a 401k is 9 extra years hanging out with your grandkids, 9 extra years of vacations, 9 extra years of freedom. Or if you're on the wrong side of that equation, 9 years of working when you thought you'd be done, 9 years of stress, 9 years of watching your savings drain away. This isn't complicated math. It's just math nobody tells you about. When you invest in private assets, like a bridge, for example, the values don't update daily. You can't withdraw your money whenever you want. It's a bridge, after all, not a stock. That illiquidity scares people, but it's also what creates value. Patient capital earns better returns, including assets like real estate or infrastructure in a 401k has become practical only in the past 5 to 10 years. Most plan providers still don't offer it. Most employers don't know to ask for it. Most workers don't know it exists. So the gap continues. The people with pensions keep compounding. The people with 401ks keep falling behind. Here's another thing nobody talks about. Even retirees who saved well often spend too little. They're gripped by fear that they'll run out. They downsize their dreams and delay joy. This is psychological. You work your whole life, you save, you sacrifice. You finally reach retirement with a lump sum in your account, and then you're terrified to spend it. Because the 401k doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't tell you how much you can safely withdraw each year. It doesn't tell you if you're on track or falling behind. It just sits there, a number on a screen, and you have no idea if it's enough. The economist Bill Sharp called this the nastiest, hardest problem in finance. Hard, but solvable. That's why I've been pushing for changes. Mandatory savings, employer responsibility, better default investments, tools that give people guidance, not just accounts. But change is slow, and people are retiring now. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. I met a woman at one of our retirement summits. She was 58, worked as a teacher for 30 years, never missed a day, dedicated her life to other people's children. She had $67,000 in her retirement account. That's it. 30 years of work, $67,000. She thought she was doing fine. She contributed to her 403b when she could. She assumed the system was taking care of her. She trusted that decades of work would translate to a comfortable retirement. Then she ran the numbers. At her current rate, she'd be able to retire at 75. Maybe, if nothing went wrong, if healthcare costs didn't spike, if she didn't need long-term care. The look on her face when she understood her situation. I've seen it hundreds of times. That moment when the fantasy meets reality, when the comfortable assumptions crash into cold mathematics. She's not alone. She's the norm. And the tragedy is, it didn't have to be this way. If someone had explained this to her at 25 instead of 58, she'd have had 33 more years of compounding. She'd be fine. Instead, she's facing the hardest years of her life with inadequate resources. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm being this direct. Every year you don't hear this message is a year of compounding you lose. Every comfortable delusion is costing you real money. Every time someone tells you it'll be fine without showing you the math, they're lying to you. I'm not going to lie to you. So let me give you some practical advice. First, know your number, not the fantasy number, your actual number based on your expenses, your lifestyle, your health, your location. Most people have never calculated this. They just guess. Stop guessing. Second, start now. If you haven't started saving for retirement, start today. Not tomorrow, not next month, today. The power of compound interest works both ways. It builds wealth when you're young. It destroys options when you wait. Third, max out any employer match. If your employer offers a 401k match and you're not taking it, you're leaving free money on the table. That's a guaranteed 100% return. You won't find that anywhere else. Fourth, think about private assets. If your plan offers them, consider them. If it doesn't, ask why. The more people ask, the more plans will add them. This is a structural disadvantage that can be fixed. Fifth, don't keep everything in cash. I hear it constantly. People are more anxious about the economy than any time in recent memory. So they keep money in bank accounts. They feel safe. But if you're keeping your money in the bank rather than investing in the market, you won't generate the returns necessary to retire with dignity. Inflation eats cash. Every year, your money sits in a savings account earning 4%, while inflation runs at 3%. You're barely treading water. Over decades, you're drowning. Sixth, understand Social Security. It's a fantastic foundation for retirement. But if that's all you have when you retire, you're going to be living below the poverty line. It's supplemental. It's not meant to be the totality of what you have. Now, I want to talk about something uncomfortable. 1/3 of Americans don't have any retirement savings at all. Zero. Nothing. These aren't irresponsible people. Many of them are working multiple jobs just to pay rent. They're one emergency away from disaster. Here's a statistic that should terrify anyone who cares about this country. 1/3 of U.S. voters say they couldn't handle an unexpected $500 expense. $500. That's a car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance. No one invests for retirement if they're worried about paying for a flat tire tomorrow. The daily emergency always wins over the distant goal. That's why I've pushed for emergency savings programs. Our philanthropic foundation has helped low-income Americans put away $2 billion in emergency savings accounts. Dedicated rainy day funds. And you know what we found? People with these emergency funds are 70% more likely to invest for retirement. Fix the immediate crisis, and people can finally think about the future. Congress understood this. The Secure 2.0 Act scaled these ideas nationwide. But it's not enough. It's never enough when you're fighting a problem this big. Here's what politicians won't tell you. They can pass laws, they can create programs, they can make speeches about retirement security, but they can't save for you. They can't invest for you. They can't make the hard choices for you. At the end of the day, your retirement is your responsibility. The government isn't coming to rescue you. Your employer isn't going to take care of you. Nobody owes you a comfortable old age. You have to earn it. You have to plan for it. You have to sacrifice for it. That's not fair. I know it's not fair. Previous generations had pensions. They had social security they could rely on. They had employers who felt obligated to take care of longtime workers. That world is gone. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start building something in the new world, the world where you're on your own, the world where the only person responsible for your future is you. Let me be blunt about something. More than half of Americans fear outliving their savings more than they fear death itself. Read that again. People are more afraid of running out of money than they are of dying. That's not just a financial crisis. That's a psychological crisis. That's a failure of the systems that were supposed to protect people. That's a failure of employers who shifted responsibility onto workers who weren't equipped to handle it. That's a failure of policy that didn't adapt to changing demographics. And it's a failure that millions of people will live with for the rest of their lives. I believe something can change. I believe we can fix this. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why I write about it every year. That's why BlackRock is building new tools, new products, new ways to help people actually reach retirement instead of just hoping they do. But I need your help. Share this video. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. Your parents, your siblings, your friends. The more people understand this crisis, the more pressure there is to fix it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment with your situation. These small actions make a difference. They tell the algorithm this matters. They help the message spread. And the message needs to spread because right now, millions of Americans are walking toward a cliff they can't see. They're assuming everything will work out. They're trusting systems that are failing them. $2,089,000. That's what people think they need. $87,000. That's what the median American household actually has saved. The gap between those numbers is a catastrophe in slow motion. You can close that gap, but only if you start. Only if you understand what you're facing. Only if you take responsibility for a future that no one else is going to secure for you. I've spent 40 years in this industry. I've managed more money than most countries have in their treasuries. I've seen markets crash and recover. I've seen fortunes made and lost. And I've never been more worried about retirement than I am right now. Not because the market is bad. The market is fine. Not because the economy is broken. The economy will heal. But because people don't understand what's coming. Because the systems designed to help them have failed. Because the clock is ticking, and most people don't even know it. This is the silent crisis. It doesn't make cable news. It doesn't trend on social media. It doesn't generate clicks and outrage. But it's destroying lives. Quietly, slowly, one underfunded retirement account at a time. I'm trying to change that. But I can't do it alone. Watch this video again if you need to. Take notes. Make a plan, do something, and share it with everyone you know, because almost no one is close. And the ones who make it are the ones who started early, invested consistently, and refused to leave their future to chance. Let me tell you what happens to people who don't make it. They unretire. That's the polite term for people who retired, realized they couldn't afford it, and had to go back to work. Not because they wanted to, because they had no choice. Imagine working until 65, throwing your retirement party, finally feeling free. Then 6 months later, you're greeting customers at Walmart because your savings ran out faster than you expected. Your health care costs more than you budgeted. Your car broke down and there's nothing left for emergencies. This is happening right now. Millions of Americans are unretiring, coming back to a job market that doesn't want them, competing with people half their age, taking whatever they can get. That's not retirement. That's desperation with extra steps. And it's completely avoidable. If you start now, if you take this seriously, if you refuse to be another statistic in next year's survey, I've made my career helping people grow their wealth. I've built the largest asset management firm in history. I've advised governments and central banks and the biggest corporations on earth. And I'm telling you, as directly as I know how, the retirement crisis is real. It's here, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. The question is whether you're going to be a victim or a survivor. That choice is yours, and it's being made right now, whether you realize it or not. Every day you don't invest is a day you can't get back. Every dollar you spend instead of save is compounding you'll never earn. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to show you the truth. What you do with it determines what the rest of your life looks like. That can be you, but only if you act now. Let me leave you with some final numbers. If you're 25 and you start investing $500 a month with an 8% average return, you'll have over $1.7 million by 65. That's close to the target. That's achievable. If you're 35 and start the same thing, you'll have about $750,000. Still significant, but half. If you're 45 and start, you'll have about $300,000. Better than nothing, but nowhere near enough. Every decade you wait costs you roughly half your retirement. I'm not trying to scare you. The people who retire comfortably aren't smarter than you. They aren't luckier than you. They just started earlier. They just showed up consistently. They just treated their future self as someone worth investing in. You can do that too, but not by watching videos, not by reading articles, not by thinking about it someday. By doing something today, right now. Open that retirement account you've been putting off. Increase your 401k contribution by just 1%. Set up automatic transfers so you don't have to think about it. Small actions compound into life-changing results. That's the power of time. That's the secret the wealthy understand. That's what nobody taught you in school. I'm Larry Fink. I run BlackRock. We manage more retirement money than anyone else in the world. I've seen what works and what doesn't. What works is starting. What doesn't work is waiting. You have the information now. You have the numbers. You have the warning. What you do with it is up to you. But remember this, almost no one is close. Make sure you're one of the few who is. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Comment your savings goal below. I want to know what you're working toward. And share this video with anyone who needs to hear the truth about retirement. Because the truth is uncomfortable, but it's also the first step toward changing it. Good luck. You're going to need strategy more than luck. But you already knew that. That's why you're still watching. And that tells me something about you. You're not like most people. Most people click away when the truth gets uncomfortable. Most people prefer comfortable lies to difficult realities. You're still here. That means you're serious. So here's my final challenge to you. In the next 24 hours, do one thing. Check your retirement account balance. Calculate what you'll have at 65 if you continue at your current pace. Compare it to what you actually need. If the numbers match, congratulations. You're ahead of 93% of Americans. If they don't, you just learned the most important lesson of your financial life. And you learned it in time to do something about it. That's not failure. That's opportunity. Take it. Now, go.